Hi, everybody. My name is Melinda Pollen, and I am the Brown County 4-H Youth Development Educator. I'm really excited to be joined by three of my colleagues. The four of us have been talking and thinking about what annual leader training could look like for 2020-2021. We know that this year in 4-H has been unlike any other 4-H year in history. And we know that the training then probably should be a little different because it's a little different year. So we're going to look at 4-H annual leader training with a little different lens. And I'm going to invite my colleagues to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Jill Jorgensen. I'm the Kewaunee County 4-H Youth Development Educator.
Hi, I'm Marie Witzel, the 4-H Youth Development Educator in Dodge County.
Hi, I'm VandeVoort. I'm the Door County 4-H Youth Development Educator.
And so as I mentioned earlier, the four of us have been working on annual leader training for a while, and what we've decided to do this year is a little different. What we're calling this is Clover Connections. And so on a regular basis, you'll receive the opportunity to watch a video that talks about something that might be helpful in your club or group. And so the first one that we're going to talk about today is about reconnecting with our 4-H members. Some of us have been doing that really well in our clubs and groups, and you've been meeting through Zoom and having lots of phone conversations. And some of our clubs have not been doing that as easily. Some people have taken some time away from 4-H to focus on other things. And now is the time as we get ready for 2020, 2021 to reconnect with our 4-H clubs and groups. So we want to talk with you a little bit about some options that we might have for you to reconnect with your clubs and groups. So Dawn, as we were talking earlier, you had a couple of ideas, you had an idea. So let's see what you had there.
Awesome. So one of the awesome parts about our 4-H clubs and groups is that sense of belonging. You belong to a 4-H club or a project group. And throughout this, we've had a really hard time with connecting with each other because we haven't been able to get together in person like we usually do. So one of the ways I'd suggest that you try to reconnect with your clubs and groups is sending a letter. Drop a letter in the mail. We all love getting a piece of mail, especially when it's not a bill. And it's a really great way for us to just check in, let people know that we're thinking about them, let people know that our 4-H clubs are still here, and kind of just say hello and reconnect.
Awesome. Thanks, Dawn. Great idea. And as we were talking about that earlier, Marie, you had a kind of a different take on that. So what was it that you were talking about?
Well, one of the things I was thinking about is club officers have not really had a chance to do a lot of things in the last 5 months if your club hasn't been meeting. And so this would give them a chance to maybe call some of the members in the club, check in with them, ask them what they've been doing over the summer, find out how their projects are going, and just to talk to them on the phone. It would also be a great chance for our club officers to practice some of those phone calling skills that they may need to have with some of the kids that they're talking to as well. So I'm thinking, give them a call, use your phone.
Excellent. Dawn, when we were talking earlier, you talked about how do we get those lists? So if you don't have, so how do we get a 4-H list of who they reach out to?
Absolutely. If you need a list of addresses, be it physical mailing addresses, emails, or phone numbers, contact your extension office staff. We have the ability to get into 4-H online right now, and we can get those lists printed off and sent to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Dawn. Jill, when we were talking earlier, you had some ideas of some other ways we could maybe try to reconnect with our 4-H clubs and groups.
One of the things that we become really accustomed to is using online virtual formats. So let's talk a little bit about using Zoom. So when you're thinking about one of the ways we could connect, maybe via Zoom, you could do it as one large meeting and then maybe have your educator help you make breakout rooms, because that's one of the options we have as educators, and help you really do that and come together as a group and talk through what are the things that are going on, how are things going, really create that sense of belonging that Dawn was talking about. Maybe you're going to meet a couple different nights during the week and host a couple different Zooms, really using that technology to be able to connect with your 4-H members where they are and at different times of day, or even, like I said, in those different breakout rooms. I also think this is a really good opportunity to chat with them about how are you feeling about coming back together now in the fall? Are you feeling like you really would love to meet in person? Are you feeling like you really enjoy the online piece and really are comfortable with that? Or would you be most comfortable with meeting half in person, partially online, that really hybrid model of meeting? So what is it that your families and members are looking for the fall? And even yourself, how are you feeling about that? How do you feel about coming back together with that group? And how can you work with the other club leaders in your communities and your 4-H educator to make some really good options to come together as your club and create those really good connections?
such great idea. I mean, I think it's so important that we kind of get the finger on the pulse of where our members and where our families are feeling. And there's a broad spectrum of where people might be. And so really understanding what that is, and then working with your local educator in your county or in your area to figure out how we can accommodate that. If that's in person, there might be a way to do that. If that's virtual, there might be a way to do that as well. So really getting that finger on the pulse, Jill, great idea. And what you might be doing in that process is also starting to think about what a calendar of events might look like. And we'll talk about that in a future Clover Connection section when we talk about things like how do you develop a club activity that actually might be part of your club charter. This was our first video. We want you to know that we are here, the four of us are here. If you've got ideas that you would like us to cover or topics that are coming up in your community that you'd like us to kind of give a couple of new ideas to, but also remember that your local extension office is there to support you through all of these pieces. The staff that is in your community is there and ready to help you figure out what 4-H could look like in 2020, 2021 in your own backyard. So reach out to your local educator and feel free to drop us a message and send us information that you would like us to consider, or gosh, we've got a great question. That's what we're here for, and that's what Clover Connections will do for you. We hope that you continue to join us as we explore more of what 2020, 2021 will look like. Thanks everybody for joining.